Okay, I'm gonna do as a first video something about the R part in chapter 2, and then I'll make the video tomorrow about the not R part, and then we'll have studio night as well. Your pre-lab is now open, so you'll be able to practice that, but of course you could always practice it using the script if you're trying to get practice. So the first thing I'm gonna do, which is always, well, usually a good place to start, is I'm just gonna pull up the pre-lab script for this so that I can see what things I'm going to be expected to deal with to start with. Okay, so because you still need to do the pre-lab yourself and think through it yourself, I'm going to import something different. If only I clicked the right place. There we go. And let me see. I'm going to see what options are in here. So I'm going to name this PS for post survey, save myself time in the future. I checked that the headings there, one of the things that happens to people that then they ask me questions at a time when I can't answer them is that they reference the headings and it gives an error, and they don't realize that their headings have become V1, V2, V3, and so forth because they didn't click yes on heading. Another thing that happens frequently is that people don't change the name when it tells them to. So like in this pre-lab, it says name it bowl. If you don't change its name, then here where it references bowl, that's not a thing. There's no object named this. It's named this. And so it doesn't know what it's looking for. So that's one thing that's a problem. So let me look here and see if there's anything that could be related. Sleep Tuesday and Sleep Saturday seem like maybe they should be related. So let's try that. So the first variable I'm going to look at is this one. Okay, so now I've run a histogram. That looks actually approximately normal. And then I'm going to do several other things, which we've done in the past, on this set. So this is, right now we're looking at a variable. So I get the 5-number summary. So now if I was asked the median, I would say it's 7. If I was asked the interquartile range, I would say it was 2. If I was asked for the minimum, I would say it was 3. I expect that the mean and the SD will be similar because this looks approximately normal. So we'll see. So 6.82 instead of 7, so that's pretty close. And 1.3 instead of 2, that's less close. I guess probably because of this bulk right here. If that was moved down, the interquartile range would be different. Okay, so now that's our first variable. So we're looking at Sleep Tuesday. Then we're going to look at Sleep Saturday. That's our second variable of interest. And hopefully that's capital S, lower at. That was strange. Oh, because I highlighted that, it just ran that instead of the histogram. Okay, so there's a histogram. Not totally unnormal, but less normal than the last one. Okay, there's the 5-number summary, median 8, quartile range 2, but for a slightly, everything's kind of moved up there. So this used to be 6, 7, 8, now it's 7, 8, 9. The minimum's still 3, the maximum's quite large. Mm. 7.98, so very close to that 8. And the SD is 1.8, the interquartile range is 2, so those are pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a minute about these things here, the plot and the outline. So when you run the plot, this is just the exact same plot from before. So this will do Tuesday, Saturday. Okay, so that's a plot. Hopefully these are more related than that sort of appears. We have several that are doubled up. The reason for the vertical lines and the horizontal lines is that everything was reported in whole numbers. So they had them round to the nearest hour in both cases. When it's dark, that means there are multiples. Okay, so now what we're going to do here, this is going to add a line of best fit. To that plot. If you don't run the plot first, you won't be able to do the line. Okay, so there's a line of best fit. It's just barely slanted there. Okay, so here we have the correlation, the regression line. There are two things about this. One, you can see that while the plots are the same, except that these are dots filled in, it's a slightly different line with a very similar slope, right? Okay, so there are a couple of things. One is that I chose badly. These things are not very related. If you look at r squared, it's 0.04. That's extremely close to 0, so they are really not related. Because of that, we should not use a regression line. That's not the line of best fit. The other thing is, if it was approximately linear, so it did have a good solid R value, then the ab line and the len fit would be the same line. But remember that this package was written by Michael from UT, and when I ran ab line, it gave me the line. And that's it. It's just a plot. But when you do len fit, it gives you these values so that you can actually write the equation of the line. Let's see if there's anything that's really truly related. Probably not. Maybe talking min and text sense. Let's plot it and see. That still does not look linear. Maybe this one. Ah, that looks linear. Okay, so let's use that one. Or not linear, but, you know, approximately linear. That's not a super good line. That's a good line. So I don't know why ab line, I don't know what its actual function is. I don't know why it's giving this line. That's not a very good line. The ones that you've got in your pre-lab will have an actual, you know, matching line. Except here you've got the plot, the open circles because you plotted. But This is, so it's slightly different from this. This is really a better fit line. You can see that just by looking at it. And this is, again, the regression line. So for this work in Unit 2, the thing you need to use is the one that they give you. You don't have to use any code that's not given to you, okay? So you'll use this one here. And then in Unit 5, we'll use the len-fit, but you're already using it. Even so, you have to use the ab line for this work because when they look at it, it needs to match. So then you can calculate the correlation coefficient. So if you ask for correlation, it's 0.55, which is moderate. You know, it's not a really strong match. Maybe that's why these still don't work. It'd be really good if we had a pretty strong correlation so that you could see that then they'd be the same. But you will see that if you run the len-fit on the other stuff. Okay, so correlation matrix. Okay, so you can see this is 1, and this is R, and this is R, and this is 1. And that gives you a prediction method. I don't think that this shows up in the problem set. So I think the pre-lab should lead you through using this. If it doesn't, you can always ask questions about the pre-lab before the lab, which is next week. So as far as the problem set, I think this ought to get you through it. Don't forget when you upload it to upload this and this and your plots. Any plots it asks you to make, you need to upload. So if it asks you for a histogram, upload it. If it asks you for the plot, the ab line's actually added to the plot, so that's one graph. But don't forget to do that.